We are back with another one, and looks like Ingrid is here. Ingrid, some people love her, some people hate her. I made a video recently talking about a little bit of her history. Not her complete history, because actually I found out that she was an alpha in a in a PSP game, specifically a PSP. And I didn't know because I never had a PSP, which now I wish I did because from what I hear, there was a lot of good fighting games on PSP. So yeah, maybe I'll get me one of those. Who knows? Um, but yeah, Ingrid, her teaser, teaser trailer. I don't know what happened there. Teaser trailer. Um, popped out recently, and it was pretty good. We didn't get any gameplay like usual. This is just her teaser, and but we could see that she's probably going to be broken, because of just the things that she's able to do. She seems like a cosmic being or some type of intra-dimensional goddess slash elf or something like that. To me, she looks like the Fae. She looks like one of the Fae. I don't know if you guys know about the Fae or fairy folk. Um, and if you guys have researched that, and in fact, a lot of people believe that the Fae are actually the Greys. And if you guys don't know what that is, that's another, I guess, like an alien race known as the Grey. These are the ones that are usually um, cited as being the ones doing all the abductions. And I believe, in my personal opinion, that this is related um, to those to those aliens, right? And I believe that I see a theme. Like when you see like a mythology and you see the same kind of story being told in different um ways, like resurrections and other things like that you see in a lot of mythology. you know um well, when it comes to the Fae and when it comes to the Greys, there's a lot of similarities between them too. And if you hear a lot of the recent things that they're talking about, these aliens, they're saying that they're not really um from outer space, but rather from another timeline or another reality or something. And really, what a lot of these disclosure people are saying is that they don't know what they are. So it's kind of confusing. But the reason I'm talking about this when it pertains to Street Fighter is because I actually do see similarities in what they're showing us here. The girl has large eyes. She has a weirdly shaped head that looks similar to a mantis. If you know anything about the mantis creatures, they're very closely tied to the Greys and the Fae. Um, and a lot of people, they don't realize that these beings are cosmic, even though they are um, in the fairy whimsical realm or domain, I guess you could say. They actually can't tamper with reality to a certain extent, to where it is cosmic. You know what I mean? So just because I'm saying, oh, she's um she seems like a fairy godmother. I don't know if you guys remember Cinderella. She reminds me of the fairy godmother for Cinderella, the one that made her wishes come true for about one night or something like that. Um, so yeah, so I mean, it's just a little bit of conspiracy theory that I like to put into a lot of these videos. Um, and so, excuse me. Oh man, I don't know what that was. And so I've been using my voice all day. By the way, I've been busy. And but anyways, this little guy here reminds me, like the whole thing here. You know what it reminds me of? The way the patterns of them flying and everything. It reminds me of Mewtwo and Mew from Pokemon. And believe it or not, Mew and Mewtwo are based on the Greys and the Fae. So, if you go back and look at the story, you'll realize that there's a natural Fae and there's a man-made Fae, which is Mewtwo. Mewtwo is a clone of Mew. And I think the story that's trying to be told here is that there is a natural Fae that has been here since the beginning of time, when it comes to just fairies and or the Fae folk or whatever. But then there's another one that the government's trying to mimic, and I think those are the ones responsible for a lot of the abductions, in my personal opinion. But having said that, she looks like she's gonna be OP, man. She looks like she's gonna have a lot of rangy attacks. She's gonna be somewhat of a zoner, in my opinion. She's probably going to be able to teleport for sure. She's gonna be able to fly, and so yeah, she's basically gonna be broken. In the lore, it says that a lot of times when she loses a fight, it's because she finds you. She finds the fight disinteresting. She gets bored and she just lets you win. So yeah, this girl is gonna be crazy good, man. And so yeah, let's move on here, guys, to other news. By the way, she is gonna be the giant attack, and we're gonna get into that in a little bit too. But when it comes to Street Fighter season 4, we have gotten some news, and the developers have said that they're gonna time it. They're gonna time season 4 DLC with the release of the new movie for Street Fighter. And so people are starting to say that, a lot of the DLC characters are going to be based on the movie. So a lot of the characters in the movie are going to be DLC characters, which means that we already have a lot of these, by the way. We already have Ryu, we already have Ken, we already have Agaio, we already have E Honda, we already have Blanca, Dawson, Chun-Li, Ryukin. So a lot of these we have. So but we got to focus on the ones that we don't have. And that brings me to one of my predictions that I said Vega was going to be on there, and I think that's probably the only one that I'm gonna get right from my prediction. But we don't know yet. I mean, this is just something. This is just a recent development that's making me change my mind on what's gonna be season 4 DLC. But Vega is correct. I think Vega is. He was always the highest likely one to be in season 4. I'd actually be surprised if he's not season 4 DLC. But this just confirms that he's gonna be there. So I hope that he has a really cool redesign. I hope that I don't know, they do something with him that makes him a lot more interesting. I mean, he is an interesting character, but he's not necessarily the most interesting character. He's just a Street Fighter 2 character. He's one of the classic characters from Street Fighter 2. But not necessarily a big fan of his, but who knows, maybe his when I play him this time, he's going to be my favorite or something. I have no idea. Another one that's going to be on there is Balrog, because this is one of the guys that we don't have We only have one boxer. So and we have so let's see, we have I think 4 or 5 wrestlers, right? We have E Honda, Zangief, Alex, and Lily, and Manon, right? So that's 5 wrestlers. But we don't have a lot of boxers. We only have one boxer, so we're gonna need another boxer. So that would make sense that Balrog would be in season 4 DLC. For me, that's good because I like brawlers. I think Balrog is definitely a brawler boxer type of character, and that's really my favorite, archetype. Um, next to Rekka characters, and but yeah, I'm happy that he's gonna be there. But he definitely wasn't in my first prediction. I think my first prediction was Vega, Sakura, Gil, and a new Filipino character that we've never seen before. This Filipino character, we've been teased with this guy, and people have been telling us about him, and he just never shows up. So, but I think he's not going to show up in season 4 either. So we're just going to have to see. But yeah, Balrog is definitely going to be on here. Um, but the other one that has been teased, or that has a high chance of being in the game, is Julie. Okay, Julie, from what I hear, she's from the T-Hawk tribe. She's another member of the T-Hawk tribe that was captured by M. Bison and turned into a doll. If you want to know about how they do that, just look up MK Ultra and all that stuff. All my videos on that. Um, but yeah, so she's gonna be on there. And I don't know. I mean, it could be good, it could not be good. I have no idea. I never really played her. She's one of those characters that kind of flew over my head, and I don't really know much about her. I think she does use a staff, which is cool. I like staff characters with staffs, and characters with swords. I'm a big fan of those types of fighting game characters. Um, and so that's gonna be good in my opinion if she does that. But who knows? We're just gonna have to see. Some people are saying that she's just another Cammy type. Who knows, man? We're just gonna have to cross our fingers and hope she's good. One of the ones that I don't think is gonna be in the game is Joe, right? Because Joe, I don't know if you guys know, but I believe personally that he is Terry Bogard. Okay, that's my belief, is that Joe is Terry Bogard, and that's just what I believe. So it would be dumb for another Terry Bogard to show off. And so the reason I believe that he's Terry Bogard is because the devs, one of the devs for Street Fighter 2 wanted this guy Joe to be the main character for Street Fighter Third Strike, or the third iteration of Street Fighter. And of course, they didn't agree with that. They wanted it to be some other guy or whatever. And so or actually, no, for Street Fighter 2, yeah, for Street Fighter 2. So Joe was in Street Fighter 1, and they wanted Joe to be, yeah, just switch it to Street Fighter 2, sorry. And so that developer left, not because of that, just for whatever reason. And he began to make a little game called Fatal Fury, and the main character was Joe, but they just changed his name to Terry Bogard. That's pretty much the whole story of Terry Bogard, and that's why he wears the same colors, white, red, and blue. He has a star in his belt buckle, which is the main symbol of Terry Bogard. So it's pretty much Terry Bogard. He's just Joe. So in my opinion, they're gonna honor this character by giving Terry Bogard a new skin, and it's going to be Joe. It's gonna be the Joe skin. That's what I think is gonna happen with that. But I don't think Joe is gonna be one of the characters for season 4. In my opinion, it's just highly unlikely to have 2 Terry Bogards in a game, in my personal opinion. Um, But anyways, another guy that I think is a lot more likely to be in the game is Dan Hibiki, because he is a fan favorite, because he is in the movie, and because it just makes sense. It just makes sense for season 4, way more than someone like Joe. So yeah, I think Dan Hibiki is definitely going to be on there. But this leaves a spot, right? This leaves a spot. So who's going to be the last character if it's not going to be Joe? I personally believe that it's going to be a bad guy. It has to be a bad guy. The question is which one. I'm saying that I'm leaning towards it being Gil, right? That's who I think it's gonna be. But you guys let me know. I mean, I think Gil makes sense because of Alex and because it's a third strike, bad guy, and because it's just the next one up. It's a third strike, bad guy. And that's who I think it's gonna be. And the reason I think it's gonna be that is because we need a big bad guy. We need a big threat, and because we always have one. Like for example, in season 2 DLC, we had, or actually season 1 DLC, we had Akuma as the big giant attack. All right, season 2, it was M Bison, and season 3, I believe it's gonna be Ingrid. Because of her whole cosmic abilities and all the crazy shit that she's gonna be able to do. She's going to be our giant attack. So what's gonna happen in season 4? I think that it has to be Gil. We it can't be Dan. It would be crazy. It can't be Joe because he's not gonna be in there. I think it can't be Vega. I don't think it will be Vega, and it definitely won't be Balrog, in my personal opinion. He's never been a big boss character. So it has to be Gil. But you guys let me know which one of the bad guys it could be. Maybe it'll be somebody else. But yeah, that is going to be it for today, guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys later.